Antarctica is home to an advanced civilization with some of the world's tallest pyramids. He claimed he flew into a place that opened up near Antarctica, and he ended up in a lush and tropical environment, practically. We have a new enemy that can fly from pole to pole at incredible speeds, and he claims they can come and go as they like because no one can stop them. During World War II, they discovered that the Nazis had gone down to Antarctica and created a base there called New Schwabenland, and they were like, wait a minute, why in the world would they go to this desolate place? What's down there that makes them want to brave the terrible weather and risk everything, including their lives, to establish a base? Now, there's an extraordinary narrative in Admiral Byrd's diary that was discovered by his children, in which he stated he flew into an area that opened up to Antarctica, and he went into a place that was practically tropical. We have a new enemy that can fly from pole to pole at incredible speeds, and he claims they can come and go as they like because no one can stop them. According to his own diary, something took over his jet, and these two UFO-type craft, circular craft and flying saucers, arrived and took over his airplane, guiding him to this region where they landed, and then taking him to meet someone he refers to as the Master. This is a pretty interesting topic, and according to this version, the Nazis received assistance in developing these crafts known as the Hanab. They had 4 variants of this craft, these circular discs made by these individuals down there. The guy, this Master, told him that they were apprehensive of the nuclear bombs that had just been used, dropped on Japan and so on, and they were weary of our experiments with nuclear weapons and conflicts since they too shared this world. Admiral Byrd is suddenly heading down there with a fleet, and not just a small fleet. He is accompanied by almost 3,000 personnel. This is a massive military mission. When he went down there, some of these flying objects began attacking some of their ships, destroying some of them and sending them back home with their tails between their legs. One of the top admirals, literally the top admiral in the world at the time for the United States military, stated that we have a new opponent who can fly from pole to pole at breakneck speed. Why would he make such a statement? And then all of a sudden these Nazis are said to have these crafts, some of which have been discovered, known as Hanu. These Hanu vehicles were capable of using several different types of propulsion. One was jets, which can take off vertically. They also had little jets that can take off vertically but then shoot horizontally. They were using a spinning device in the center of the craft, and it appears that they began to copy technology from ancient Indian invaders, because Hitler was sending his people all over the world to learn about ancient technology, which is how they discovered these people in Antarctica. He even dispatched individuals, including Nazis, to Tibet to learn about this old technique. He learned about bananas, and these folks, purportedly from Antarctica, assisted him in developing a couple of them, which used a ferrofluid vortex engine. A ferrofluid is a liquid metal similar to mercury, and according to the ancient Indian conquerors, if you rotate mercury at a high RPM and electrify it, you get something known as anti-gravity. According to eyewitness testimonies and plans unearthed during Nazi Germany's collapse, he was using something with revolving discs beneath this circular craft. And it's very interesting, I believe, aside from the uranium down there in Antarctica, for which you obviously know what uranium is used, right? Nuclear power plants and nuclear weapons? There are mountains, Admiral Byrd declared. There were mountains of coal with no ice caps. His precise words, and I can show you a copy of this tape, are, no ice, mountains of coal that can satisfy the world's need for coal for a very, very, very long time. Also, there's plutonium down there, so uranium and plutonium. We know that if you have a high quantity of plutonium and uranium, it's one of the easiest elements to separate the atoms, which makes it highly useful for weaponry and power plants. So that's why the government wanted access down there. That's why the Germans wanted access down there. And that's why, after Germany fell, we had Project Paperclip, where we took all the scientists from Germany who had learned all this wisdom and knowledge and brought them to America. People think Project Paperclip was just a small number of Nazis, but we took over 2,000 Nazis with us, brought them to America, and put them in positions of power over technology companies. To be honest, in a strange manner, America became the Fourth Reich, and I know that they were developing Hanu No. 4 at the time, which supposedly Hitler never killed. He escaped in No. 4 to Argentina, which is very, very close to Antarctica. If you look at Google Sky right now on your computer and look down on Antarctica, you'll see bases from research bases from every major country in the world, as well as the Rockefeller Foundation base. Admiral Byrd was correct. Antarctica is the #1 site in the world for technology research. I believe that when the ice melts, they will discover remnants of an old civilization. We know that Antarctica was not a frozen tundra for 12 million years, as conventional scientists would have you believe. We know this because of the Piri Reis map, which depicts Antarctica without ice and was created not long ago. So we know Antarctica relocated to that location, but how? We know that Antarctica is surrounded by tectonic plates, so that landmass was on a plate that slipped, and there was something called a pole shift of the Earth's crust, which shifted it from a more habitable climate into the position it is now. That's why the animals that are being uncovered from the ice were flash frozen with undigested food in their stomachs. And there's an entire advanced civilization there, including some of the largest. They are enormous. We only know a few things, like that one of the pyramids is 2 km by 2 km by 2 km by 2 km at its base. And the height is just, gigantic. And it's far up there, like thousands of feet. But also, one former military person who was a source for Linda Moulton Howe said on a documentary she was in that after going down there for research, I guess in private security it was still emitting some type of exotic energy. Which is pretty interesting because that was the second time I heard a statement like that. The first time was on a documentary that came on Discovery Channel about the Bermuda Triangle, when they found those pyramids off the coast of Cuba down there, which are clearly scanned. Everybody knows that they exist, but this guy was taking he would get off the boat and take like a dinghy out to float to the center area. And he said the same thing. Some type of exotic energy was draining his batteries on his cameras. He had to try 3 times to get. And what's interesting is that if you draw a perfect line from the tip of the Bermuda Triangle to the center of the Bermuda Triangle straight through the Earth, you'll end up at the Yonaguni Pyramid at the Dragon's Triangle in Japan, which is also rumored to have disappearances, exotic energy, and other crazy stuff. So in some manner, all of the pyramid constructions around the world are linked to prospective portals of some kind, or energetic portals. Do you know about the Antarctic Treaty? Yes, that deal was intended to promote peaceful collaboration in research and science down there with no combat zones. You can actually go down there. There's a guy who's got a new show on my TV network called The Secrets of Antarctica. His name is Brad Olson. It's called The Secrets of Antarctica. He went down there, and so we're documenting the whole thing. He went down there. He pulled up on the research facilities. He had to get approval to come on land. They wouldn't let him inside of the facilities, but he did get a chance to go down there. So people who say it's impenetrable and no human being, no civilian can. So that'll be coming out soon, but there's an opening next to these research facilities. And this is why I believe they made this treaty. This sharing of information treaty or whatever. There's a 30-meter wide opening there. And what's interesting, or Google Earth, I'm sorry. And when you look at it like what's in there now, why are they over here and why are they so close to this gigantic opening? What's in there? I think the answer. Another item that supports us, I took a remote viewing course with Major Ed Dame Project Stargate, former CIA United States, and his project was for remote viewing. So I took a course with him for several years. He was my actual teacher, my direct teacher. It wasn't like I was under some other people that worked with him. He was my direct teacher. His pictures of me with this man, and he told me that there are beings that have easy and free access to come and go as they please from Antarctica at one of these classes. Are you familiar with the bell, the Nazi bell? The Die Glocke, yes. The Die Glocke is an amazing device that was being developed by the Nazis during World War II. This Die Glocke, again, was technology that they learned about through an advanced civilization that they were in communication with through the system of society. The system society was using psychics to channel information from an advanced alien race, and then turning this knowledge into actual workable technology. So they had this thing and it was seen like I forget how many decades later. And I think it crashed somewhere in Virginia or something according to these accounts. But it reappeared later and crashed somewhere I believe in the Americas. And this thing was the same exact shape and description as the Die Glocke. And what was it for? I believe they were trying to tap into time travel so that they could go back in time and paradox, right? If you travel back in time and kill your grandfather, how on earth were you born? The answer is that you shift into an alternate timeline. As a result, every time you travel into the future, even when you get on an airplane, you are moving into the future based on relativity. For example, when an astronaut travels into space, we know for a fact that because they are traveling at high speeds, they return milliseconds younger than us. Therefore, even though you are traveling into the future, you can stay on the same timeline. Please interact with the video by liking, commenting, and sharing. Subscribe to be updated with more interesting content. Check out the following video.